Okay, so as everyone should remember, what we're gonna do. Oh, I need a mouse. I blocked myself in. I knew it was gonna happen. Why didn't you warn me?
I watched you suffer. Yeah. I watched you suffer tweet suits. I just like to see it reflected on his people sometimes.
Right?
It makes me feel a little better about myself, I guess.
All right. I'll blind myself.
Flexing with the sun position.
Okay. So today, what we're going to do, we're going to continue building off of this project. We're going to start getting into blueprints. So we are mostly, big air quotes, mostly done with putting walls into our environment. We do have to add, we'll switch out a couple. Amazingly, unless, well, obviously I couldn't find it if it's there. But once you put in a cube and you want to convert it to an actor, because you can't just add code to a cube, or you can add C++ code to a cube, but you can't add blueprints to it apparently. So we're just gonna have to replace a couple so we can add code to it. Yeah. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna start making this work for our start of our gameplay, so that when the player comes, pushes out the stone cube in the corner, frees the other moss colored, green colored cube, you can push it across. It'll first cover this one to this one to that one. Once that's open, this one will open. So when we cross this one, it'll open up this spot. Once this one opens up, or when we go over that one, it'll open up this one, and we go over that one will open. Now, I also have it set, and we're gonna go over it so that if you go over this one first and then come in and run it over here, it's gonna go like, haha, you're wrong. It'll actually open up this back spot, but it will close this one, and then when you come back and restart it, will close that one. So that's what the main bit of coding that we're gonna do today. I also figured, what's a game without some form of shooting other than like a fun game? So we're gonna actually prep for actually being able to shoot as well. We're gonna add projectiles at the end of class today. So, any questions at this moment? Yes.
Are you recording this?
I am. I have started my recording. So I will make sure that it gets up sometime today / tomorrow. Usually I have enough time in between classes, just depends on how much I get in between. But yes, it will go up. So I'll be there. Any other questions? I just realized you're not in the same seat. Love it. Teleporting, it's great.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. This, just in case things get crazy loud out there, which doesn't usually happen. All right, so let's dive into this. As we get going, if I'm going too fast, please let me know. But there is the recording going on, so if you get too lost, that is always there. So what we're going to be doing is we need to pay attention to let me just jump in again. As we come out, since we know the pathway through, it's great. I love being able to cheat and know exactly what I'm supposed to do. This is at least something for those of you who maybe haven't had me for 350 yet. Good fun reminder for everyone who has had me for 350. If you're making a game and I ask you to make a recording of the gameplay, you should be able to beat your own game. If you make a game where you literally cannot provide me video proof that you can beat your own game, you might have made too hard of a game. So this is going to be the block that we are going to use to run our puzzle. It's locked into coordinates. And so what we want to do is pay attention when we drag it over. These cubes, it's going to change something. So what we want to first do is go ahead and select, at least on mine it shows up as cube 33. I'm not sure what yours will show up, but if you're looking at the house from this side of the maze, it's the second one. There's one here. We want this one. We're going to rename this cube. It'll eventually allow me to rename it to SM Stone Trigger 01. Because we're going to want to be able to track which one it's hitting, and just being like, hey, pay attention to cube 33 becomes a little off. So we're going to do the same thing for the other two. Oh, wrong button. Terminate position. This one's cube 34 for me. I don't know what it'll be for you guys. So cube 34, we're going to have this one be our SM Stone Trigger 02. And I know this is going to come as a shock to everyone, but our middle one is going to be SM Stone Trigger 03. All right. So that's going to give us those to use as references, which will be helpful. Oh, that's even more helpful. Okay. And then in our content browser, we've got our content folder. We're going to go ahead and in here, right click on content, add a new folder. We're going to call this folder Blueprints. So we're going to put our blueprints in this folder here. I did, because I'm that kind of a person.
Hey, what's wrong with capitalizing that? Shouldn't you do that?
It's one word. Blueprints should have a lowercase b. But now I know to put those letters in there just for you, Jordan. All right, so we're going to, with the blueprints folder selected, we're going to right click on there. We are going to choose a blueprint class. And then we're going to select actor from the parent class. This gives us something that we can use to interact with. And we're going to call this actually our BP underscore puzzle cube. Capital C, Jordan, just letting you know. All right. So we're also going to have to, once again, we're going to be putting code on our puzzle cube, which was the moss cube that we pushing around. So we're going to have to replace that one. So we've got this one. Double click on our new blueprint that we just opened up, which is going to give you this window. I like to just dock it next to my third person map. It just makes it a little easier. And so what we're going to do, we have in here, we have our event graph. This is where all your blueprint code is going to go, all your nodes and everything. We have the construction script. We're going to not touch that at the moment. And then we have our viewport. Viewport is where you would add any types of visuals to this. So for this case, we're going to actually be adding a cube because we're replacing a cube, right? So for this, we're going to click on components, which is upper left side. We'll click add. we can just scroll down to cube, which is static mesh. Isn't that pretty? We'll just leave it called cube. It's fine. And then we want to, oh, actually, hold on. No, that's the right one. I gotta trust myself. Perfect. So with this, we want to come over and to make sure in our details that we have our static mesh equal to, well, this is cube. We're going to actually have it set to the SM cube just to have it there. It's not going to be a huge difference, but what's what we're going to do.
So, okay, hold on.
Yep. So over in the details, you'll see static mesh. Just change it to the SM cube underscore cube. Good? Cool. Yeah. From to access the cube, if you just double click on the blueprint. Everybody else, we good at the moment? Cool. What we're going to want to do is then scroll down a little bit. We're going to go ahead and in our physics section, we're going to simulate physics like we've done before. Simulating physics, as you remember, is going to actually allow us to interact with it in some way, shape, or form. Without this, we couldn't do anything. So we're going to simulate the physics. We're going to open up the constraints dropdown like we did before. We're going to lock the rotation in X, Y, and Z. That way we can only move it sliding across the ground. We want to click on and activate the ability to set our mass. And we'll set that to 250. And linear dampening will be 2. This way it just is going to be a lot harder to push, giving that feel that you're pushing something with some actual weight behind it. And then we're going to go ahead and, so we do it through here. In the material, if you click on the basic shape material, which is what we would get otherwise, and we can start typing in moss. That's going to bring in our M ground moss. And now we have our green cube again. The one thing to keep in mind while you're doing this, making sure that at some form of regular intervals, you're clicking your compile and save. The compile in this situation is not really going to do much for us because we're not adapting any code to it at the moment. So it's quick and easy, but it does require us to click it and make it green, and then saves our work on it at that point. So with this made, we can come back to our third person map. If we then come over and click on what was originally our cube, we now want to change that out for the one we just made. So with it selected, you can come to your outliner and right click on it. And then we can click on replace selected actors with, and we can select our BP underscore puzzle cube. It's going to just replace it. Sadly, it replaces it. It's not exactly in the right spot, so you're just going to want to come in, adjust it just a little bit, get it fully into its spots. And there we go. Everybody caught up at this point? Take that as a yes. Fabulous. All right. Let us return to our BP puzzle cube. And we want to, in the details of the cube, we want to scroll down to the very bottom of the details. And you'll see we have a lot of different events that we can end up attaching to this. And so we want to, goes in there? No, it's in collision. I'm sorry, I went too far. We will get to that one in a minute. So backup is the collision tab. We want to, under collision, simulation generates hits. So we want it to actually, when it collides with something, we want it to actually say, hey, I hit something. Isn't this neat? I could tell you a lot about it if you want to know. And that's what we're going to want from it. And so then from here actually is where we're going to go down to the bottom into the events, and we want the on component hit, which is the top one, which is nice. We're just going to click the plus on that, and it immediately teleports us to the event graph. So, and it adds into it the on component hit. All right. In the event graph, it gives us some that are already here. They're grayed out: event begin play, begin overlap, and event tick. We're not going to use those currently, so to just save room and not have stuff in the way, I'm just going to delete them. If we ever need them, they're really easy to put back in. So what we're going to do here is we're going to right-click onto our event graph. And we're going to do, 3 equal signs. And we want to be checking. So what we're checking for is this hitting one of our SM stone triggers, right? We have 3 different ones. We're going to be checking to verify that the text is going to be the same. So we want to go and make sure that we're paying attention to the text one, and we want equal exactly string. So that was 3, equal exactly the string. Put that in, we get some little nodes here. From here, we want to, from our on component hit, it gives us some different options. So we have the hit component. What was the component that hit? This is, in our case, kind of useless because this is just going to say like, hi, I'm the cube. I'm the BP puzzle cube. I hit something. Hey, it was me. I hit it. But it's not telling us what it hit. So in this case, it's not going to do much for us. What we care about actually is the other actor. We want to know what exactly it hit. So we're going to drag out from the other actor and connect it down to, doesn't matter, one of the two. And you'll get this immediate change to get display name, which is fabulous. It's going to put that in there for us, automatically setting it up. And then we want to, in the text box here, go in and grab, if you feel confident in your typing skills that you can match it, just type it in. If you're like me and always run the risk of some little typo, you can go back to your third person map, select the name of that trigger. For this one, it's the SM underscore stone trigger 01. Copy it, go back to your cube, and then paste that into the text box. So what we're checking at this moment is from this hit, because there's going to be lots of things that the cube's going to hit, right? It's going to hit the ground. It's going to hit the player. If you bump it into other bushes, it's going to report those. we don't care about those. All we're going to care about in this is, did you actually hit that first stone trigger or one of the stone triggers? And so what we'll do from that is now we can put in our first branch off of the on component hit. So drag off, start typing branch. Branch is the easiest way to check true false, right? So when we have it, we're going to put some condition in here. And if that can, it's going to say, oh, cool, that condition, because it's a Boolean, it's a branch, it can either be true or false. So now we can then say, okay, if it's true, do something. If it's false, do something else. So we'll just connect our output here from our checking to see if it's equal to the condition branch. So now it's going to come in and say, hey, you hit something. Is what you hit SM stone trigger 01? Is that the item that you hit? Yes or no? All right. That will then allow us more information as we go. We can follow our false line along. We're going to do another, we're actually going to drag out another branch. We're going to go ahead and grab another, we can highlight our checking to see if it's equal. We can just hit Control D to duplicate it. That gives us a copy. We can drag that over. Make sure that you're changing it from 01 to 02. And then we can connect this one, once again, to our get display name. It's kind of the nice thing with our visual coding style with this, with the nodes. You can use multiple nodes for multiple things. You don't always have to drag a brand new one every time you need it. So we've got that now here. We're going to check and see if that condition's true or not. And we're going to then, because there's 3 of them, we'll check one more, drag off your false. We'll add another branch. We'll duplicate our equal trigger. Once again, making sure to go in and change that to 03. And then connect them up. From this, it would be a pretty darn huge reach for this. We can still use this. I have organization issues when it comes to Unreal, so I'm going to double click on the connector to add a little node, so I can from here have a little bit more control, and then I can actually just drag off of that node. So if you want it to look pretty, there are definitely ways to make it look pretty. All right. Now we've at least got it checking. It's only going to be paying attention to, did it hit stone 1, stone 2, or stone 3, right? It's going to hit a whole bunch more stuff, I can guarantee you, but we don't care about it. But now we need to set up what's going to happen when it does that, right? So we're going to go ahead and make basically more new custom events, but they run like functions, right? So from C#, you can make your own functions, and then you can send the code to that function if you need to, send it back and around, whatever you need to do. So for this, we're going to right-click on the screen, start typing in custom, and the top one should be add custom event. We'll want to do that. The first one is going to be stone 1 hit. So we'll zoom in a little bit more on that. You can duplicate these if you want, it just makes it another custom event with a warning of like, oh my God, you did something. It's not been changed to anything. And we just go in and fix it. This one will be stone 2-hit. And because I am not very unique when it comes to how I label things, I'm sure it's going to come as a surprise to everyone. Stone 3-hit. So we have now 3 different functions that we can throw through so that if we know it was stone 1, because we're going to have that ability here, right? In our first check on the on component hit, we're checking to see, did you trigger stone 1? Currently it's set to false is all we've dealt with, but now we can have true. So we can drag off our true and say stone. If you start typing stone, it's going to give us our call functions. So now we can have stone 1 hit. And then we can just add the other 2 for the other branches. So off of 2, we want to drag stone 2 hit. And off of 3, off of the true, stone 3 hit. Everybody up to where we're at? I see some looking. Yeah. How do you do the function ones? Or just see them?
Yeah.
Stone 1 hit, stone 2 hit, stone 3 hit.
What are the text boxes that you're putting the names in? Well,
Text boxes?
well, like that's what they are, right?
Yeah, it's just a text box. I don't know if they have a specific. It's like a string. It's just a.
String. Okay. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think I looked up text box and not thinking about.
Sure. Text box. Just because they might not name it that, it's still what it is.
Oh well, yeah.
All right. So from here, we're just going to go ahead and compile and save just to make sure it locks in what we've done so far. Right. So now if we grab out the box, we go through, we're playing our game, we slide out our BP puzzle cube. It's going to then check and see, does it slide over one of those stone triggers? And then depending upon which one it slides over, it's going to go to the resulting function attached to it. All right. We're going to start diving into what happens when we hit stone 1. So we're going to come down to the stone 1 hit function. We're going to drag off our favorite thing in the world, which is a branch. Branches are, I swear it's what I use the most whenever I'm using Unreal. Whether that's a good thing or not, that's probably to be determined, but it tends to be what I use. All right, and so what we've got, did I forget those ones yet? Before we go further, we need to be able to track, right? So we have an order that we want these stone blocks to be hit, right? We want stone block 1 to be hit first, then to 2, then to 3. So if you go into it and you hit stone block 1 and then skip to 3 and then go back to 2, it shouldn't open up the door, right? That's not what we want. We want this to actually be in a specific order. So to do that, we want to have a few variables to track, has that stone been activated yet, right? So that if we've activated 1 and we go to 2, it's like, oh, you're doing the right thing, you're great. But if we went from 1 to 3, it's going to be like, hey, no, that's not what we want. So we're going to go down here on the left-hand side to the variables. We're going to click the plus to add a variable. It knew exactly what we wanted and immediately put it into a Boolean. That's all we want. We're just going to check if it's true or false that we've hit it. I'm going to call these hit stone 1. I bet you can all guess where this is going to go. Next one hit stone 2. And surprise, surprise, hit stone 3.
It's 4.
Ah, man, fooled you.
Almost got him.
I got you. I almost had you, Drew. So these are our variables. Variables can come in many different types. So you have obviously all the ones that you would use. All we care about for this one currently is just Booleans. So we're going to leave it as that. We have this closed. Okay. If you didn't know, you'd be like, wow, there's kind of a cool little like smiley face on the variables. Like, yeah, that's neat. It's a closed eyeball. Who would have ever freaking guessed that one? I don't know. So it's private versus public. So we can just leave them closed. It doesn't matter at the moment. We're not throwing things around at this moment. But if you're trying to get that variable from another code source or another blueprint, you would have to open them up. All right. So from here, we want to go ahead. With these, there's multiple ways to get them onto your blueprint. So we can drag I think I'm playing still. We're going to drag off hit stone 2. We want to check that one. So we can just drag from our variables onto our screen, onto the blueprints. And then it asks you, do you want to get the value of it, or do you want to set the value of it, right? So we have multiple options that we have with that. For this one, we're going to go ahead and set the variable. That's going to make it so we can set things. If we wanted to shortcut this, you have the ability to hold Control and drag, and that auto brings in the get. You can hold Alt and drag, and it auto brings in the set. If you wish the quick shortcut to it. Either way is fine. All right. So off of our branch on the stone 1 hit, we're going to want to go ahead and connect the set to true. You'll notice here we have hit stone 2, which is fuzzy, but hey, got a little projectors. And we have a little box that we can toggle with the check mark on or off. So leaving it off means you're setting it to false. Checking it means you're setting it to true. So for this case, we're going to leave it false. So if you go to stone 1, we want to make sure that stone 2 is now not true because we've started over. So anytime, even if we've gone through and done multiple, whenever we go back and start at stone 1, we want to have a clean slate. So if stone 2 was true, we want to set it back to false no matter what. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on a minute. Let's read all my notes. It is correct, but we want to go ahead and on our stone 2, grab a get, and get of the stone 2 is where we're going to put in the condition of the branch. So we want to check and see as we hit stone 1, have we already hit stone 2? Yes or no, true or false. If it's true, we want to say, nah, okay, no, you didn't. You didn't hit it. Just kidding. If it's false, surprise, surprise, we're going to drag off another branch. Y'all are going to be really good at putting in branches by the end of this class. No. What do you expect from me? And so then we're going to also check and see, right? So was stone 3, so we're going to drag stone 3 off. I just did my control with it. We're going to add that to our branch. Hey, was stone 3 already hit? And this is where we're going to then drag off the set version of stone 3. So if it's true that we have hit stone 3 already, like we went through 1, 2, and 3, and then we drug the stone back to 1, you're going to start over, and it'll be great. It's fine. You have nothing but time in this game, right? All right, we're going to set all those back. We're going to set them to false. If it's true, we're setting it to false. All right, so we've got 1, 2, and 3. And so now we want to, on our, okay, we want to have our stone 1 hit set. We're going to attach that to our false. So you've checked stone 2. You've hit stone 1. You've checked to see if you have stone 2 already something there, and you fixed it if you had. Right? Then we check stone 3. Check it. And now we're going to set stone 1. But currently there's a problem. So currently if we hit stone 2, if we already had stone 2 activated, right, and then we went to stone 1, it's going to go, oh, cool, that's neat. We're removing stone 2. And that's all we're going to do. So we want to then drag off of the end of sets and bring them into our branches so that no matter what happens, we're coming in and continuing on our code. So even if we had to change it, we want to say, cool, keep going, keep checking. And then for this one, hey, right, we hit stone 1. That's what we want to do first. Yay, us. Amazing. We want to then go ahead and do our checkbox here on the stat of hit stone 1 to set it now to true. Right? So that way we are making sure that if we hit stone 1, we've started our program, our process. We've said, yep, we already hit stone 1. Cool. Now go looking for stone 2. All right. And so now, as we've done we've got up here, right? So now hit stone 1, you hit it, we're going to come through all of this. And no matter what order we did it in, we've got it there. To save a little bit of time, this is something you don't have to do. So if we hit stone 1 over and over and over and over and over again, which you're going to do because it's checking for collisions every frame, right? It's like, did you hit something? Am I hitting something now? Am I hitting something? I might be hitting something now. You better check. I don't know. Never. What's going to happen, right? So we can come through here, and at the very start of after our stone 1 hit function, we can actually add in a branch because we love branches. It just adds it in for us. What we want to do is check and see. I don't want set. I want the other one. For which one?
Adding the branch directly into.
So just grab off of the stone 1 hit execution thing and just drag straight off. And then you can type in branch, and then I'll just throw it in between. So then we want to get, hey, has stone 1 already been hit? Right, so check for that. This auto filled it into true. We don't want that, so we can remove the connecting line by holding Alt and clicking on the line. That removes it. And we want to say that, so if true, we just need to be done, right? Like, hey, I've already hit stone 1. If I'm just continuing to hit stone 1, I don't really care. I don't need to go through all this stuff anymore. If stone 1's been hit and it's already true, cool, we're done. So we can add this branch here, which just ends our code at this point, saying like, yeah, dude, I got it. You're still hitting stone 1. I really don't care anymore. Nothing else is going to change. For this level of code, this really isn't a necessary part of it, but imagining this leads to code that's got 200 nodes. And it's going to take time to go through all those nodes, right? So this is going to optimize it to a degree. All right, compile, save, because, you know, got to get in the habit of that. All right. Now we're on to, did we hit stone 2? So stone 2 hits. I'm give myself a little space because this gets a little bit more complicated. First, we want to see when we're doing this one. So surprise, surprise, we're going to add a branch. I know, it's craziness. But so like in the first one, right, we went through and said like, okay, did stone, was 1 hit so we can save some time? Not probably the biggest deal on this one. But we want to start with this of if stone 3 got hit, right? You're going now backwards. Has stone 3 already been hit? True or false, right? Because now we've got sort of a problem. We have an order of events that we're supposed to do, right? Now we're getting out of that order. So we want to now put in the like, haha, you screwed up. Let's make some changes. All right, so if this is false, right? We went to stone 3, we hit stone 3, we, for some reason, we made it all the way there. And boy, that's not where we wanted to be, right? We don't want to go back to stone 2 afterwards. We're going to actually reset the whole thing. So if stone 3 has already been hit and you hit stone 2, ugh, I'm so sorry. We're going to go ahead and set, I need buttons on here. 1, set 2, and set 3. We're going to set all these back to false. We're going to be like, okay, dude, you did this wrong. Start over. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Learn how to do a puzzle, right? Whatever code you want to put up there. So if you hit if stone 3 had already been hit, then you go back to hit stone 2. On the true side, you're now setting stone 1, stone 2, and stone 3 back to false. We're saying like this, you better start over. This is on you, buddy. All right. So if stone 3, though, has not been hit, right? So that's the best case scenario, right? You hit stone 2 and stone 3 has not yet been hit. So we are going to then want to check if stone 2 had already been hit. So we can drag off and we're going to, surprise, surprise, do another branch. Gotta love the branches. We're going to drag our stone 2 variable, hit stone 2. We're going to use the gets, connect that through to our branch, and say, like, have you already hit stone 2? Right? So this is now coming back to a degree to the start of our stone 1, right? If stone 2, you hit stone 2, stone 3 has not been hit yet, and you hit stone 2 again, we kind of don't care. Right? It's the same thing with stone 1, right? If you hit stone 1, stone 1's been hit, you hit stone 1 again, Cool, you activated stone 1 again. So we don't really need to worry about that. And so we're just going to obviously leave the true alone. If stone 2 has not been hit, though, right? We want to go ahead and check. We're going to need to set that it was there, but we need to first make sure that stone 1 had been hit first. So we're going to do another branch because I loves me some branches. We come in, we get our get from stone 1, add it to our condition here. So now we only care, right? So we're doing this in the right order, right? I went and hit stone 1. So that means, boom, I haven't hit stone 3. Great, false. I just got to stone 2, hitting it the first time. So it's not been hit yet. False. Have I hit stone 1? Did I do the first one first time right? Hopefully the answer is yes. If yes, we want to then go ahead and on true, actually we're going to grab off, we're going to set stone 2 to true, right? So we're going to drag the set of hit stone 2. And make sure we check it to have it be in a like, yep, cool. It's true. We did it. Yes. It's amazing. All right. So we're in the right path, right? So if we screwed up, we're going back to nothing. If we didn't screw up, if we've already hit stone 2, who cares? You did it right. If you hit stone 1 first, but you haven't hit stone 2 yet, this is the first time. Great. Now you're saying, I did it. Press, compile, save. All right. Whew. Stone 3 function. So for this, because this is going to end up running some different parts, we only want to make sure, like we did in the stone 1 hit, that we're only triggering this once. We only want this to happen one time. So we're going to drag off a branch. No one saw that one coming. We're going to take our hit stone 3. So if it has not been hit yet, we're going to be like, yeah, cool. We're going to set that to being hit eventually, as long as everything else checks out. More branches. Love the branches, right? We're going to then say, if this was true, we're done with that line, just like we had done here in the stone 1 hit. All right. So if it has not been hit, I know, shocking, another branch.
With all these branches, you're trying to build a dam.
I was just hoping to build a tree.
That works too.
That could then be chopped down by a beaver to make a dam.
I see.
Is that good? Is that fair?
Yeah, I follow that logic.
Okay. So what we want to check, obviously, at this point is, did it hit stone 2, right? Because that's our order. Stone 1, stone 2, stone 3. So did we hit stone 2? So we can get our stone 2. Sir.
I just have a quick
Yep.
shortcut. If you're dragging off something, you can just hit B and it adds a branch.
Does it? Cool. But I like typing branch. All right. Shortcut B. I like shortcuts. I will forget in 10 minutes, Trenton. So if you could remind me about 10 minutes while I start doing it again, that'd be great. All right. So from here, we want to see, right? Did we check? Is stone 2 been hit? Our hope is that stone 2 is hit, right? Because then we've done it in the right order. So if that's the case, off of our true, we're going to actually do our set. So actually, we're going to do our stone 3 set off the true. And like previously, we're going to make our checkbox in the stone 3 true, right? And then life is happy. The game is won. Yay, we're done. Not done. So we do want to now check one more thing. Let's test it. I'm dragging off. I hit the, ooh, that is neat. All right, we're going to drag off another branch, right? Because there would be the possibility that I went from stone 1 to stone 3. God, terrible puzzler, right? So we're going to drag off and check. Did I do it in the wrong order? Should I be fired from my job? Probably. So if false, we're going to check and see, did we hit stone 1? If that's true, we are going to make this a little weird. It's okay. Don't worry about it. We're going to set hit stone 1, set hit stone 2, and we're actually going to set something for hit stone 3. So we're going to if we hit stone 1 first, we need to set stone 1 to false. Yes, sir. Because we're checking the hit stone 1.
We know if we didn't hit 2, then reset.
True. I'm trying to think of in this situation, you could get away with it.
So just leave it there so it's more readable.
It is nice that it makes it more legible. So that's the excuse I'm going to go with. But it is like, say at some point you added another stone into the mix. Now you know that if you just did this one, it's already into place rather than having to go back and add and fix everything. But yes, you could get away with it in this one. 100%. I'm going to leave it this way, though, because it doesn't break anything. All right, so we're going to then say that hit stone 1 is, we're setting it to false. We're setting hit stone 2 to false. But we're actually going to set hit stone 3 to false. And let me show you why. To true. Sorry, my bad. Thank you. I checked it and then said false again. So if what we're going to end up doing with these is we're going to actually end up having it move these parts of the maze. So if I say, oh no, you hit this out of order, now you're trapped in here because this wall comes back up. Might not be the best, right? There are ways around it. Obviously, everybody gets teleported out, whatever, things get restarted. Some big bad comes in with a hammer and just clobbers you and you die immediately, right? Whatever you want to do. I like to give my players an out and say like, yeah, you screwed up, but now you can learn from it. So we're going to actually end up opening the exit wall so you can get back out. We're just not going to open up the wall to get to the house and leave the maze. So that's why we are setting it that way. And then obviously, if one wasn't hit, if you went straight to 3, which is not possible, we don't need to do anything about it. I guess unless you hack the system, give yourself a double jump ability. I'm not sure. Okay. If you haven't already, make sure to compile and save. We are going to, where are we at in this? We're making good progress. Okay. As before, right? So we've got in our third person map, we have 3 parts of our hedge maze. We have this one here that's going to need to be opened up and changed some way, shape, or form, right? When we hit something, we have the one on the other side that needs to be changed its position. And then we have the final one that's like, hey, let me out. I've done it. Yay. I'm amazing. That'll have to be modified. Once again, these are currently just static meshes where we can't then do anything with them. So we have to go ahead and replace these. So what we're going to do, Budgie, assuming that was a sneeze. A cough? Then bless you anyway. So we're going to go ahead and create 3 more blueprints, 1 for each one of these pieces. So in our blueprints with the capital P just for Jordan, we are going to go ahead and add in another blueprint class, once again of actor, BP. Oh, why did you stop?
Aaron, I don't know what's worse, you capitalizing that P or calling events functions.
They are functions. Literally what they are.
But there also are functions inside of it.
Well, true, but they're still acting as functions. You will never beat the Unity C# out of me.
Well, you type in custom event to make it.
I know, but if you hover over it, it actually calls it a function.
Does it?
Yeah.
I hate that. You're still wrong.
Even though it doesn't, I'm still wrong. That's fair. I'm okay with being wrong.
If you swim really hard and like replace all the letters that basically use as functions.
That's true. That's true. If you knew how to truly read and understand it, you would understand. At its core, it's really just a function.
Functions are nice anyways, because then you get like your own little like mini event graph inside.
That's true. I do like those. We are going to get there. Not today. So we're going to do BP exit wall. We're going to make another one. BP entrance wall. And last but definitely least, BP house wall. So these are going to end up replacing our walls that we've currently done. We are going to go ahead and open them up, all 3 of them. We're going to need to deal with them all at once, or over time. BP entrance wall, exit wall, and house wall. Let's start with the house wall, because that's the one I clicked on last. Can always tell kind of where people at. Keep hearing like double clicks going through the lab.
Yeah, wait, how do you rename the walls? Because the walls are the ones.
So we're just creating. We don't need to rename anything. So unless you did what I did and click off of it before you type in the new name, then you can just rename them here. But that's just because I left it as like, hey, new actor, yay. You didn't put anything cool in. All right, so in our BP house wall, we're going to go ahead and do what we did previously. We're going to add a static mesh. We're going to go ahead and to our static mesh, we are going to set it to the SM cube, underscore cubed, capital C cube. Jordan, just in case. We are going to scroll down for this one to, we don't need physics. We want our, we can scroll down to rendering, click on advanced. There are lots of different ways. We're going to do this style, and then hit the plus next to override material. And now we can type in our moss to turn it green. That's amazing. Love it. And then we want to, in here, go ahead and change the scale of this to 1, 2, and 4. So now we have what it should look like. And then, where is it? Oh, we do that out there. Okay. Huh? Yep. You said it to Moss? It might take a minute. So like before, compile, save. Let's go ahead and move on to the exit wall, or we'll go to, exit wall at the moment. It's all going to be pretty much the same thing. Add static mesh. We're going to, once again, change it to the SM cube. Change its rendering override material to the moss, because we love moss apparently. The size though for the exit wall is going to be 3.8 by 4. So a little bit more square looking. Compile, save. For our entrance wall, surprise, surprise, same thing. We're just going to click static mesh, SM cube. Change its rendering. Override. Moss. But the size of this one, we want to be 1 by 4.8 by 4. Hey, calendar invite. Neat.
What's the size of the house wall?
The house wall, 1 by 2 by 4, I believe. Yeah, 1, 2, 4. Exit wall was 3.8 by 4. Entrance wall 1, 4, 4. Or sorry, 1, 4.8, 4. Once again, compile, save. All right, and then as we did previously, we're going to come back out to our third person map. And we'll start with this one here, which is our exit house wall. So we're going to click on that cube. We're going to right click on the static mesh in here, replace it with BP house wall. If you're not seeing BP house wall here, just come into your blueprints and select it to make sure it's highlighted, and then come back, change it, and you'll have it there. Once again, it throws it in right in the center because, that makes sense. Also, it's huge. Because we did a replace on it, it saved our current scale of 122, or sorry, 124. And so it's bringing in our 124 and then scaling it up again, 124. So we just need to, on our scale here, change it to 111. That scales it back down to where we want it to be. And then it's as easy as dragging it back into its spots. Ah. There, it's like nothing ever happened. So now we have that wall in place, right? So now we actually have the ability to add blueprints to it. The other thing that we want to do before we go from this, though, is having it selected in your outliner. Down here in your details, we want to click on actor. And then we want to scroll down and open up advanced, which gives us the ability to give it a tag. So we're going to click on the plus to say, yeah, we want to give it a tag. And then we would just type in the tag for this one. W underscore house is what I'm calling it. Capital H house. If you want to change it, it's perfectly fine. But just remember what you're naming it. We're going to use that here in a bit to connect them. So we're going to do the same thing for the three other ones. I'm going to move next on to the entrance wall, which is the one here as you're looking at the house. So coming up into the pipe, we're going to make sure that I've got my entrance wall blueprints selected in my blueprints so that I can just click on it, replace it with the entrance wall, which once again is massive because we brought it in at the sizes. So we just set this back to 111 and then just drop it into place, make it a nice end cap for the wall structure here. It should fit perfectly. So now we have a wall covering it completely. So if you were going through this the first time, right, it's like, it's just a normal wall. I'm sure there's a way of being on the other side, but haha, there's not. You'll never find it. So with that one done, we're going to do our final one, which is our exit wall. So we can have our BP exit wall selected, come through, replace it, exit wall. Once again, it's massive, set it to ones. And for this one, drop it down. Drag it right off of the one that's already there. Connect it through. So we've got a nice covered up maze with our blueprints in place. Because I forgot to do it in the other one. We'll do it in this one first. Remember, come in with the actor, advanced, plus on the tag because we want to add a tag to it. This is our exit wall. So I'm just going to do W exit underscore exit for the tag. And then set the tag for the entrance wall as well. Actor, advanced, tag, W underscore enter because I'm not typing entrance again. All right. I'm going to go ahead and save it because why not? We've made some good progress. Okay. Let's go ahead and take because, we've been making so many branches that everybody could probably use a break. Let's take about a 10-minute break. So go stretch your legs. Be back at 4:35-ish. Ugh. Stand up myself.
He's still back.
seems to be sitting long.
Huh?
The mouse cursor seems to be staying fixed.
I know, I love it.
Here, right?
Dude, I should be nice and pause. That's a rare feat for me to remember how to do that. All right. Thank you. At least somebody is. All right. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to make it so that as we actually collide with our different triggers, the different walls are going to move. So that's going to allow us that if we do our pattern correctly, we'll open up the walls that we need to open up to get us through, and then open up the final wall to get to the house. That's our goal. Can we do it? Yes, we can. So we're going to start with our house wall, BP house wall. We're going to go into our event graph. We don't need any of this, so we can delete what's already there. And these are going to be just a rough getting them out of the way movements. We can make these cooler and animated later if we want to, or maybe I'll leave that for y'all to play with for when you modify this to how you want it to be at the end. But we're just going to get them the hell out of the way. So we'll delete those. We're going to add a custom event. All right, and we're going to name this one Move the Wall. Switch back so I can see it. So this function, amazingly, is going to move the wall. Right? It's amazing. All right, and so what we want to do is we want to drag off of here, set actor transform. Is that right? Now I'm not trusting myself. No, I am wrong. This is what I started with doing, and this is not right. Okay, delete that. Did not update my notes. We want to actually instead set world location for the static mesh. So what this is doing is it's grabbing our static mesh that we created, and it's saying, that's the one I want. And we're going to move it. So we're going to set its world location. In this case, we are going to set that location to 2900, 5800, and 0. So when we would be moving that house wall, this is what we're going to move it to. But if you remember right, or if you remember, not right, but just remembering, right, there's a moment where you could have screwed up the pattern and we opened it up and then like, oh, no, you screwed it up, you got to close it, right? So we're going to also add in another custom event. And we'll call this event replace wall. So you have move wall, replace wall. We can just go ahead and select, control select both the set world location and static mesh, control D to duplicate it, connect this through to our replace wall. And then all we're going to do to change this one, we're just going to change the X value to 2540. So if we've moved this wall and then we screwed up and we need to move the wall back, we're going to run then the replace wall and just move back to its original location. And then because we've done it, we need to compile and save, right? We have code in here now. We're going to do this for our other ones. So we'll go to our entrance wall. We can do the exit wall first, work down the line. Once again, come to our event graph, delete the stuff we don't need, add our custom event that works like a function. Sorry. Drag off our set world location.
Copy and paste nodes between the two.
It's true, we could.
Because I tried that to do myself.
Perfect. We'll do that for the next one. So, and then with this one, we can once again duplicate it, save ourselves a little bit of time. We can actually, let's even just, we could select the whole thing and duplicate it. And just change the name of this one to our replace wall. We want to name that first one move wall. Not being very unique, we don't need to be. For the set world location on the move wall on this one, we want 3730 and 3180. For our replacement on this one, we want 3730 and 2900. Compile save. Once again, you got me on the jump. You're good. We can highlight, select all of them, Control C to copy, drag it to our entrance wall, to its event graph, like we've done before, delete those, Control V to bring them in, and now we're just going to change our locations of our entrance walls, which is 1130, 2420, and the replacement entrance 1130, 2800. And then compile save. So basically what we have at this point is if we've gone over the right stone trigger, it's going to move the wall out of our way in the order that we need it to be opened up in to then allow us to eventually escape if we do it correctly. And then if we screw it up, we have the ability to be like, nah, we're going to close that wall. So that way it gets handled that way. Okay. Those are all set up for everything we need. Did everybody get the values in? Perfect. We'll come back to our BP puzzle cube because now we need to connect from BP puzzle cube to call to the right corresponding wall to move, right? So we're going to actually add in 6 more custom events because we love custom events as well. We'll do the first one is going to be move entrance wall, duplicate it, move exit wall, duplicate that one. This one's good. Move, I think it's house wall. Yeah, move house wall. Duplicate again. Now we're going to do our replace entrance wall. Surprise, surprise, replace exit wall. And last but definitely not least, replace house wall. So this gets us set up for being able to run the events by calling out to what we just did in our BP walls. All right. For all of our move events, they're going to be pretty similar. So we're just going to give ourselves some space here. I'm going to move these ones over this way. Give a little bit of space to our entrance wall. All right. For this, what we're going to want to do is we want to be able to get our actors, right? So we set up our tags. And so this is where we're going to use those at this point. So we're going to drag off of the move entrance wall. We're going to do get. Where is my? It is actually, we want get all actors with tags. Get all actors with tag. So this is going to basically look in the scene and go like, okay, who's got the tag of whichever specific tag it is? And they'll be like, I do, I have one too. And so then it'll create an array of that. So it stores it in an array, which thankfully we can get away with not going that far. If you forgotten what you called the tag, it's easy enough to pop back into your third player map. And for which one we're doing, entrance wall, you can then go and say, cool, I'm going to copy that over and bring it in into our tag box, right? So we're comparing, what are all the actors with the tags? And it's going to spit it out into this out actors. So dragging off of out actors, we can start by typing get, and we want the array get a copy is what we're looking for. And so what this allows us to do is set where in the array do we want to get a copy of, right? So we've set it up that there's only one of each tag in our environment, right? We have the W enter, the W exit, the W house. So all we care about is one. So that means it's going to be at the 0 index. So this is now the index of the array. So it's going to spit back the 0. And then we want to drag off and do cast to BP. And this one is going to be entrance wall. We can connect our executing. So after we get the actors, we're going to cast it to the BP entrance wall. This is the way we can, by casting is how we can actually send something between the actors, right? Otherwise, they don't communicate well. And honestly, I still don't think they communicate the greatest, but that's okay. And so from here, we want to drag off of the execute from BP entrance wall, and we want to do move wall under BP entrance wall and set the target to the as BP entrance wall. This allows us to now, when we eventually run the move entrance wall event, it's going to then call out and run the event move wall. All right, what's nice about this is we get to copy all the code there, duplicate it twice, one for each of the other ones. connect these to our walls. So move exit wall gets connected, move house wall gets connected, and then we want to make sure that we go in and change our tags. So move exit wall gets to W exit, or whatever you called it, and move house wall gets changed to W house. Oh, we got to do one other thing. We need to delete our BP entrance walls because they were just sending it to the wrong one. So we want to add in the cast to BP exit wall, cast to BP house wall, and then put our connections through, make sure the get goes into the object, and that the house wall goes to the target on move. Why are you doing this to me? Let's try.
You just have to recall the wall.
Yeah,
I was still thinking it was from the.
I was thinking it was from the other one. Yeah. Ugh.
Copy and pasting did not come in clutch.
It did not come in clutch. I thought it was going to, and it didn't. Copy and pasting is not always your friend.
It is going from like move entrance wall to replace entrance wall though.
That is the hope. All right. Got all those. Tags are done. Yep, so now we can copy everything from these moves except for the move walls. So we can actually copy all 9 of these, duplicate them, drag them over to these ones, and connect our replacings through here. Entrance to the enter one, exit to the exit, house to the house. And then we'll drag off of our casts to replace wall and connecting through the as BPs as needed, or in all of them. Place wall. And replace wall. All right. Once you do, ooh, wow, and make sure that all your gets are connected through to your cast BPs. Compile and save when you're there, and hopefully, if you did it right, you get a green check mark instead of a red oh shit symbol. Okay. Everybody at this point, or anyone not at this point, I guess is the better question. You're good. Take a couple of moments. We are close to getting this working. Yay! Align, you good? Close? Are you close? Okay.
Is that the first one?
So I'm trying to connect it to
That exit wall, but
The replace or the move? Okay.
but as BP exit wall.
Did you replace the move? Did you replace the move wall?
Yeah, I know. Definitely.
Is it supposed to work? Not yet.
Oh,
See, I told you.
we're good, we're good.
He's over here crashing out. Nothing.
Shit ain't magic, man. You gotta plug everything together. We gotta still put this stuff together.
Oh no, just happy. I've been joking a bit back. It's the
Hmm?
Bro. Oh, you're so
You got it. You got it.
yeah, you're fine.
I'm moving girl. If you're being creative, then. Okay. So now we just need to go through and connect these through. So we'll come back to our stone hit one, or yep, stone one hit. Words are hard, don't worry about it. So on the hit stone 2, when we set that one to false, we actually want to drag in here off of our set. We want to replace exit wall.
Wait, where is this?
So this is off of our back end stone 1 hit.
Oh. And then after this.
And then when we go ahead and set our hit stone 2 to false, we want to, so now, right, so we've done it in the wrong order. We had hit stone 2 had been done. It was true, but we went back instead to now hit stone 1. Now we need to replace that wall because it has moved at this point. So we can just drag off of, I'll just clear this for a second, connect it as it was. We can drag off of the set for the hit stone 2 set. Drag off of that and change it to, or add in replace, if I can type, replace exit wall. And that just fills it in. Then in our hit stone 3 to false, we're going to drag off of that and we're going to do replace our house wall, and we're going to actually replace our exit wall. Just in case it hasn't been replaced, we're now replacing it. And then, and this is the other reason for replacing our exit wall is this was our out, so we don't end up with our player stuck in that place. So now off of our replace, or setting hit stone 1 to being true, right? We did it right. This is where we're going to drag off and move the entrance wall. The entrance wall then opens up, technically giving the player access to 2 stone triggers to make it a little trickier. So it's just not like, oh yeah, well, of course I have to do it this way because it's the only way to do it. So now we're going to move that one. Compile, save. Now we'll come back to our hit stone, our stone to hit event. So on the hit stone 1, 2, and 3 are set to false, right? Like, oh shit, you fucked up really bad. We're doing it in. So right now we're just going to replace everything. So we got replace, exit, wall. We're going to replace the entrance wall. And if it happened to be opened, we're going to replace the house wall. You messed up big time. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. I know, it's sad. But sometimes you just have to be punished for making bad choices. All right. And so then off of our other path, right? So if you had not hit stone 3 already, we're going to come here to our setting of hit stone 2, which was to true. We are now going to then move our exit wall. Compile, save. And last but not least, so when we set stone 3 here on our stone 3 hit, when stone 3 goes to true, we want to move the house wall. Squeeze that in there. And then if you did it out of order, right? You went from stone 1 to stone 3. We want to, at the end of our long setting, stone 1 to false, stone 2 to false, stone 3 to true, we're going to replace the entrance wall. We're going to replace, actually we don't need, we're going to actually then just move the exit wall. So we're going to replace the entrance wall. So technically this is where you get blocked off, right? Like you went the wrong path and now we close the wall behind you. Sorry, you get to die a painful death, turn into a skeleton, unless you can eat, I don't know, moss-covered hedges. Does not sound like a fun life to me. So this way we're going to actually then open up that exit wall to allow them to exit, go back through, and try again. Compile, save. And this is where we say a small prayer to whatever computer gods that might happen to be listening. Come back to our third person map. Hit play. And everything should be working. Come through, run into the corner, find our gravel block, push out our moss-covered BP puzzle cube, come back through, going to grab our cube that we can now do stuff with. Shove this along. All right, let's attempt to push it over the first one. All right, it's on the first one. It should have triggered. And our entrance wall has moved. Right? So now we have exit or access to now two other choices. So if, I don't know, the creator of this maze is probably a really crafty person, they're going to want us to go to the one that it's over here. Wrong choice, sucker. All right. So we hit that one. Boom. Our exit wall opens up. Oh, I'm trapped. I can't get out. Right? So now we've given the ability for them to drag their cube back out. Around the way. We come back to number 1. So when we hit 1 here, we come back, that's open, and the other side is now closed again, which is what it should be. We'll play this the right way. Come through, come around. Slide this the other trigger. Down. Over. Now we've got a straight shot. That's been triggered. I can leave my cube here now. Come out. See the house. Want to be at the house. Turn the corner. And there we are. It worked. Oh my God. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Okay. So what you could do with this, obviously, right? You could put in different little stone blocks that don't actually trigger anything to add other parts and things in there. You could change where you're placing them, right? You have a lot of options on what you would do to either make the map maze more complicated, less complicated, where you would want to go from there. All right. If you remember from the first part of class, talked about, it's not a game unless you can shoot shit. So we're going to set up for that. So what we're going to do here into our blueprints folder, we're going to create another blueprint class of an actor. This one we're going to call BP projectile. If I can type projectile correctly. We're going to go ahead and double click and open that up. We can close our puzzle cube and all our walls. I mean, unless you really like them, you can leave them open if you want. But we don't need them at the moment. So if we come into our BP projectile, we're going to want to go ahead and add a sphere component. Just here on our top list. It's amazing. It's a big snowball. I don't like big snowballs, but we'll get there. Then we're also going to add to this another component, and that is going to be projectile movement. So if you type project, you're going to get that. So that gives us our projectile movement. We want to, with projectile movement selected, we're going to come to our details. And we want to set its initial speed to 3,000 centimeters per second, I guess. And we want to have a max speed of 3,500. We want to truck it, but not too crazy trucking it. And then, nothing beats bouncy bullets, so why not? Projectile bounces? Sure should. Obviously, this can lead into your own directions and choices, but we're going to stick with that. I hate snowballs, so unless I'm the one throwing them. So for this, we're going to actually go to, where is it? In our sphere, we'll click on sphere. For the static, the material, instead of the basic shape material, we're going to actually type in, you can just type in tech, T-E-C, and we're going to choose the M-Tech Hex Tile Pulse. Because that's way cooler. I'm not going to lie. And then we want to go ahead and drag the sphere onto the detail or the default scene root. Don't freak out when you do it. Default scene root is going to disappear. It's okay. There's no way to get back anyway. There is, but it's fine. We just want the sphere to actually be the root. That's what we want it to be. So with this, we can go ahead and compile and save. We've got a cool little bouncy ball. Everybody to this point, or anybody not at this point? Better questions? Okay. Okay. Let me know if you either need help or when you're ready.
We're having the same issue of our little cube. We can't get it to move out of the hole.
Could be a sizing issue. You make sure it's got simulate physics. Because otherwise, yeah, you can't. Yeah, you have to go back and check it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you need a quick rundown on this again? Okay. So into your blueprints folder, you're going to add in the blueprint class actor and then rename it to BP underscore projectile. Then double click on it and open it. You're then going to want to add a sphere component. And you're going to want to add you're going to want to type this in, projectile movement component. With the projectile movement selected, you want to, under projectile, set the initial speed to 3,000, max speed to 35. In the next section, set should bounce to true, check. Then on your sphere, in its materials, set it to the MTech hex tile. You probably type hex and it'll probably pull up pretty quick. And then you want to drag the sphere on your components on top of the default scene root. Cool? Perfect. All right. So go back to your third person map. Into your content folders, we're going to drag down to the third person folder. We're going to then dive down into the blueprints folder of that, and you'll see the BP third person character. So we're going to double click on that to open it up. This has got like all your character basic movements, camera inputs. We don't care about any of that at the moment. But what we're going to do is we're going to make it so that when you press the left mouse button, it's going to fire one of the projectiles. So we'll just right click onto our event graph. We're going to do left mouse. If you start typing left mouse, you'll have a mouse event, left mouse button. That's the one we want. So you have the options of it, pressed, release, and a key. We don't care about the key at the moment. We don't really care about released. But if you wanted something where something happened when you then pressed the left mouse button and something different happened when you released it, you have those options built in. So we're just going to care about pressed. So we are going to, from pressed, drag off spawn actor from class. No. Intro Unreal class.
They should know the new system. You think that's difficult? What?
But compared to just typing in input
The input system is really, it's great if you wanted to control.
So then we want to go ahead and set where the projectile is going to spawn. So we actually need to, real quick, if you hit compile, you're going to get an error. We don't need to compile at the moment. It's fine. We're going to go to the viewport where Unreal has very inappropriate images. Swear to God. And so we're going to actually add another arrow. So if you go into add arrow, we're gonna add a really big red arrow because that's not even worse. And we're gonna rename this to projectile launch position. And then we're going to move that because not right. We're gonna move. Where's my connect? There we go. We're gonna move it up to basically in front of the little blue chest glow piece, right? So we have that cool little blue ball. That doesn't sound right either. We're gonna move it in front of the blue lights, and then move it forward till so it's just outside of the capsule collider surrounding the player, right? So we want it about there. Somebody was a little childish boy at Unreal that did this. Just going to blame it on that. All right. With this, we're going to go ahead and move back to our event graph so we don't have to have the conversations about it. We're going to drag the projectile launch position from our components onto our event graph. So that gives us the position of it. And from this, we then want to drag off of the pin on that position and get world transform. All right. Then we want to split the value. So if you hover over the pin, return value, and you right click on it, we get the option to split the struct pin. So if we do that, it gives us the value of the location, the value of the rotation, the value of the scale. So in our spawn actor, we're going to do the same thing on the spawn transform. We're going to split that, which gives us the same ones, right? So we have location, rotation, scale. We'll connect location and rotation, but we're going to actually set the transform scale to 0.15. Right now, it would just be a massive ball beam flowing out. So we're going to set it to 0.15. And we want to set our class. So select class is BP projectile. The final piece of the puzzle in our collision handling override, where it says default, we don't want default. We actually want it to be always spawn and ignore collisions. Just do it. Now if we compile and save, we're good. All right. Now, if everything goes according to plan, we go back into our third-person map. We hit play. And now, every time you click the left button, we get a big, huge pile of balls on the floor. And they don't ever despawn. So at some point, this will become problematic. So we don't want to have it be truly problematic. So let's real quick add one final piece to make them go away. If we go into our BP projectile, and into the event graph. There are multiple ways to do this. So we're just going to do this style for the moment. But for this one, we're going to actually save the event begin play so we can delete the other two. And what we'll do from this on our begin play, we're going to add a delay. So when it begins to play, a delay is going to go off. Currently it's set to 0.2 seconds. We're going to set it to 5 seconds. And then once that delay has finished, so once the 5 seconds or whatever you set it to has happened, it's going to complete. From complete, we just destroy the actor because they're canceled. We don't like them anymore. They said bad things, whatever, right? We have destroyed them. Ha ha ha. And so we can compile and save this. And now if we go back to our third person map and hit play, now when you shoot, they are going to eventually despawn after 5 seconds. All right, and save.
This is the Western game development.
All right, and with that, we have taken our game from just the start of a map, right? We had just where did I put them? Now I can see you all again. You now have a game where you can actually have a map or a maze where you have to actually complete certain tasks. You open up, escape the maze, and then we can shoot things that happen to get in our way. This gets us set up for next week. So hopefully you all have followed along, sort of in certain cases. We'll do another check-in next week. So next week, I'm just going to make sure that you can log in and shoot really weird spheres from space. I don't want to know. Don't worry about it. Oh my gosh. Amazing.
Oh.
It does have a cool visual effect. So, so next week for the check-in, I want to be able to see, one that you can push your block over the first block and the wall disappears. The first wall disappears, and then you can shoot, and then it won't disappear. For which? Like they never get to they just get involved. So we could get to the point where we disable our side. Right, it just passes over. It's sliding over the top. It doesn't. It's low enough that it just pops up the top, and it's not up, so it just stops off. Otherwise, yeah, we would have to have some other tricks. We could have it. There's the trick with things in game design in general, right? There are a million different ways to do, the same damn thing. So that's one of them. And then next week, we're gonna start playing with then scene transitions, right? We've made it to the house. We're gonna make it. Where do we go from there? And we'll probably add in. Maybe we'll start playing with some basic AI. See what happens. Any questions? I will post this video here shortly, so that shouldn't be long. So that is up, and everybody can have access to it. Any questions before I let you go? Cool. Have a good rest of the day. Those that I see in 200, see in about a half hour. All right.